So, if you've just read the title, I might sound like a really bad guy, but I'm not. I've known I wanted to be child-free since my early teens. My parents didn't oppose me, but did say I could change my mind. Since I'm not an only child, they'd still get grandchildren. When I was 20, I got a vasectomy. At 22, I met my girlfriend. I was open about being child-free from the very beginning. I remember telling her about my vasectomy, but to be honest, I think alcohol was involved, so I'm not sure if she remembers. We had been dating for a year and a half when she moved in with me. I'm 25 now. 2 weeks ago, I came home from work to find her standing in the living room smiling. She showed me a positive pregnancy test. Thinking it was a TikTok prank, I played along. When she didn't reveal it as a joke, I realized what had happened but continued to play along. That night, I got up at midnight and started sending emails. I took a week off work and emailed my best friends, telling them to pretend they knew nothing and be prepared. The next morning, I left for work as usual but didn't go. Carl, one of my friends, was waiting outside with a cap and hoodie ready for me. We spent the week following Katie, and by day 3, she met up with her affair partner, which I'm going to call AP from now on. We followed them to a motel, and Carl later followed him home. Turns out the guy was married with kids. We made a plan. I convinced Katie to visit her parents to share the good news last Saturday. While there, I gave my friends the keys to my home. At Katie's parents' house, we had lunch with her family before Katie made her announcement. Everyone was happy. After a while, I got a call from my friends telling me they were ready. I asked to make an announcement and pulled Katie aside in front of everyone. I bet they thought I was going to propose. I started by talking about how we met and how much she meant to me. Then I said, and that's why it hurt so much that you cheated on me and got pregnant by someone else. The room went silent. Katie looked shocked and insisted it wasn't a funny joke. I replied, I'm not joking. The moment you told me you were pregnant, I knew you cheated. I had a vasectomy 5 years ago and go for checkups every year. If you're pregnant, it's not mine. At that moment, her phone rang. I told her to answer it. It was probably AP's full name, the real father of her baby. I added, he probably wants to talk about you moving in. Not sure how his wife and kids will feel about that. My friends had loaded all of Katie's things into a U-Haul and brought them to AP's home. When they called me, they were in front of his house. They rang the doorbell and asked AP where they should put her belongings. He was confused, so they handed him and his wife a folder with pictures of him and Katie. Carl told him, since OP is kicking her out, she needs a place to stay. We're just delivering her things. We assumed you'd take her in since you don't want the mother of your child to be homeless. AP called Katie, yelling that she had ruined his life and that he never wanted to see her again. After hearing him scream over the phone, I said, oh, so his wife doesn't want his mistress and their baby living with them. Looks like you'll be staying here with your parents. I walked away, leaving a crying Katie and her confused, angry family behind. My friends later brought the U-Haul to her parents' house after AP refused to accept her things. I went home to find my sister waiting for me. She knew everything. This wasn't part of my plan, but Carl knows me so well. I broke down in my sister's arms. She stayed with me the whole weekend, helping me process the betrayal. It's been a week since I left Katie at her parents' house. My friends cleaned out my home and took Katie's things to her parents. But since I didn't have time to mark everything, they missed some of her stuff and took some of mine by mistake. So I called her sister to arrange a meeting to exchange our belongings. Her sister agreed on one condition. I had to sit down with Katie and hear her out. I would have left everything there, but my tablet had important work data, so I agreed. I made it clear, though, that we weren't getting back together. Katie was a shadow of her former self. She started with small talk, but I quickly told her I wasn't there for that. She wanted to apologize. Here's where I almost lost it. I wanted to yell at her for destroying our relationship. I wanted to scream that I can't just accept a simple apology for shattering my trust. But I didn't yell. I was quiet. I didn't accept or reject her apology. I just said nothing. She asked why I never asked her reasons for cheating. I told her there was nothing she could say to justify it. Her excuse wouldn't matter. She said she thought the child was mine because we weren't using protection and hoped I'd change my mind about being child-free once I found out. I told her that was a dumb assumption, and it's obvious she didn't use protection with her affair partner. She complained it was unfair of me to expose the affair to her family. I replied, "You're right. I didn't have to, but I chose to. Just like you chose to cheat, and AP chose to cheat on his wife. These are the consequences of those choices." She asked if we still had a chance if she aborted the baby. I told her that wouldn't change her betrayal. Whether she kept the baby or not, we were done. I was done. I had heard her out, but she didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. I got up, took my things, and was about to leave when she said, "I love you." I responded, "No, you don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't have betrayed and hurt me the way you did. I loved you, but you destroyed that too." With that, I left, hearing her sobbing as I walked away. I've since learned AP was kicked out of his house, and they're getting divorced. He blames Katie for ruining his life. I don't know what Katie will do with the baby, but it's not my problem.